Now, we looked at so many issues. There is a judicial president, there is a judicial pronouncement that these individuals should be granted bail, and that the federal government should create an accommodation for both him and his wife under the protective hands of the police to monitor and actually provide security for him. And they were given 50 million naira bail here. But somehow the government has not looked at all of this judicial pronouncement itself. Where are we heading to? Some people already says it has political undertone. What's the interest of the government in this whole issues itself? What do you make out of it?
Let me say very frankly that when I watched the event on television and the news of the number of persons killed, I was shedding tears in my privacy, because I never imagined that Nigeria could degenerate to a situation in which our people will not have the freedom to protest peacefully. And what is their offense? Their only offense is that they are asking for the release of El Sasaki and his wife, who have been in detention since December 12, 2015, under a so-called democracy. It is bad. And in the past, a single life lost would have provoked nationwide protests in condemnation. We should place the responsibility for the number of deaths we have lost on the shoulders of those who are in control of the federal government.
Do you agree with that statement itself? Because you have said that the issue of fundamental rights cannot be looked at here. Because you were talking about national security.
It is
but
important.
You've listened to a
No, Femi is a human rights activist. He's looking at it from the angle, and incidentally is a lawyer. Yes. He's looking at it from the angle of human rights. Yes, you have rights. But where did this right stop? This is the extent of these people. These are people that stopped the convoy of the chief of army staff for nothing.
But the court has actually granted them this bill, that they have the rights, freedom.
Yes.
That the court said they have looked at the case before
yes,
it, and they realized that this individual should not be taken and be kept against their own wishes.
Look at the order. Look at the order of the court. Grant them bail, build house for them, and protect them. Most of these orders are impossible. If you build a house, who is going to protect them?
You said the police here.
Which police? The police that they face and kill a DCP.
Now, if I may intervene.
Yes, yes.
When you invited me, I contacted my friend, Femi Falana, who is counsel to El Sasaki.
Okay.
And he has forwarded to me all the legal documents, the processes they filed in court, the affidavit and counter affidavit. The court actually, the reaction of the court is that these people, El Sasaki and his wife, are no kids. What kind of protective custody are you keeping them? Release them. They have not been released. In actual fact, according to what Femi Falana just told me a few minutes ago on my way here, the case in Kaduna could not be continued because they are not in a position to even stand trial. Both medical teams, domestic and international, have recommended to the federal government release them to go for medical treatment abroad.
But does it give reason for what we've seen so far? We saw how bloody it was on Monday. Would we say that this group somehow they were agitated? That's why they took to arms. For instance, they've also been accused.
No, we have to be very careful. We have to be very, very careful here. You know, when you have a dispute between citizens and government, unless you have the hard facts that they are responsible for the killings, please, I beg you, don't jump to conclusions. Femi Falana told me a few minutes ago, the trial in Kaduna, some of his supporters, about 300 of them were arrested. It was established that the Shiites were not responsible for the killing of the police, who was killed. It was established that it was one. It was one of the person died from the gunshot of one of the colleagues. It was established.
What happened in the case of
nobody has established that they are responsible? So let us be very careful. In 2000, year 2000, I wrote a book about the history of May Day in Nigeria and internationally. On May 4, 1886, in Chicago, as revealed later on by state authorities, the ranks of the protesters were infiltrated, and it was a police officer who threw the bomb that killed some police officers on May 4, 1886.
You do know
so what I'm saying here is that unless we have hard facts, please do not let us, draw conclusions. Because the case of Kaduna has established that they were not the one who killed the police officer. They were alleged to have killed.
But before you came on, BOI was actually looking at the violent nature of these individuals. You have actually looked at all of that. Do you agree?
No, Femi, you look at this is a mob action. It will be difficult to pin the killing to a particular person. But what brought about the action? That is the cause of the death, whoever is
and
there.
the cause is they are asking
to do what?
For the release of Esasaki and his wife, because these people are dying slowly.
Femi, they
are under critical health condition.
I agree with you. You are a lawyer. I'm one. Femi up there is a lawyer. What brought about this issue? Why on earth was there a reason for blocking the convoy of? If you have blocked the chief of staff, you have blocked the president.
You are a very senior lawyer.
I am.
You are a very senior lawyer.
I am, Femi.
Please.
Yes.
You have to establish the facts as established by the commission that was established by the Kaduna State government.
Okay. The
Kaduna State government did not find the Shiites protesters guilty. In fact, those who killed about 347 of the Shiites were recommended to be prosecuted. Up to today, nobody has been brought to justice. These are facts established by government-owned commission, not Shiites. In fact, Sasaki and his wife were not there to defend themselves. But the commission established that they were the victims, and they are still the victims. So the responsibility is to be placed squarely on the heads of those who control the federal government of Nigeria.
Where is the place of national security here? It looks more or less like a political decision when the government says no, these people would not be allowed to go just that way. And we should also recall that the DSS said they spent like 5 million naira treating these two couples, the couple itself. When you look at all those instances, what is the reason? If the government says that it still finds some issues releasing these individuals to the public, why is it that those who are canvassing for their release are not taking out time to go through the legal process to actually demand?
What is the legal process?
The
legal position is that the court has ordered several times, release them. Government is defying court orders. Disobedience of court order breeds arbitrariness, tyranny. We are no longer being governed by the rule of law. We are being governed by the whims and caprices of an individual.
Do you agree?
That cannot be right. That cannot be right.
It's a human.
That cannot be right.
An activist does not look at it from the side of the government. You are looking at it. Yes, they have their fundamental rights to protect, but where did that stop? We are talking of a commission. These are people who went to the National Assembly. These are people that are processed. If court gives an order and it's not obeyed, there are processes you can use to enforce the order.
No, but let me also intervene.
Yes,
let me also intervene. In the materials they have sent to me and the explanation he has given me, they have filed contempt proceedings for the director of DSS to be committed to prison.
Yes.
But the court has refused to hear it. What can they do? Can you force yourself on the court? You cannot.
But is it normal to take laws? Some people are saying that they're taking laws.
Some people are saying, but you and I, watched their protest. Children, women, young girls who are not armed in any way. And I've given you an instance historically that the state could infiltrate the ranks of protesters and cause mayhem. Just to give them a bad name.
Let me just ask you this question. There was a government vehicle that was set ablaze. Who set a lot of people...
No, it's the government that does that. Are you saying, Femi?
Look, so who set that particular vehicle?
I have that book. Unfortunately, I forgot it. It's in the car. On May 4, 1886 in Chicago, US, bomb was thrown by an agent provocateur planted among protesters against policemen and killed several policemen. When the state wants to give you a bad name, they can go to any extent, and they are not afraid of sacrificing the lives of some of their own agents just to achieve that goal.
Can you explain what happened yesterday?
I don't agree entirely. I don't agree. You see, I agree with him that they have the right to their freedom, but these are violent groups. Whatever I say, you have to look at it from the background of the security of the nation. They have the right to protest. It is in the constitution. But you cannot protest as to disturb others. If the police cannot curtail them, are you sure anybody can pass through them where they are protesting, or any outsider can join them without being part of that protest? It is not possible.
Let me remind you again.
Yes.
In the Kaduna case,
yes.
300 of them were arrested. All the 300 have been set free. Because there was no case against them. All the 300. So please don't let us jump to conclusion. If anyone breaches the law, let that person be arrested and tried.
Of the evil, the law will not leave you free if you are in the midst of protesters, whether you know about it or not, and a member of the protesting group is armed and somebody is killed for whatever reason. The law will not set you free. Yes, you don't know about it. You saw them protesting, you run out, and one way or the other, you are picked in the midst. Whether you are harmed or not, the moment is established that somebody is carrying a gun, you become a conspirator. For the whoever said 300 and something free, you have to see what did they present.
So you are saying
my father said
there should be more stricter.
No, not stricter. Presentation of the case of the. They are not doing well to project the image. Mr. Falana sent affidavit and counter affidavit to my colleague, and if from that affidavit there's nothing, because I cannot believe you saying you want to protect me. Why did I ask for protection? Why do you say you are giving them protective custody?
Exactly.
It is nonsensical. Protective study, what? Did I ask for it? You give somebody protective study.
The government have gone to court to review some of these instances.
That is the duty, this is the fault of the Attorney General of the Federation. It should present the facts to show why they should keep him. Not that we are giving protect. Who wants to kill him? That's giving protective custody. Protective custody comes when the life of somebody is in danger. Shaki's life is not in danger among his people.
From what you even said,
yes,
the office of the AGF, the person who occupies that office, is a political appointment itself. Does it mean that this have a political undertone too?
No. I don't. Well, I wouldn't know that. It is possible. There could be a mole in government. He has said it now. That's agent prosecutor. That is the agent of the government itself going to the other side to cause havoc, so that you can nail those people that are not involved. Yes, I agree. But I do not know, I don't have the facts, what presentation the AG will give on somebody who attacked the army general, army chief, and yet you say you should go on bail. Not only on bail, build a house for them and protect them. What are you protecting?
Are you saying for the fact that there's limitation?
We should establish this fact correctly.
Okay.
Sasaki and his wife were not at the scene.
No, they were not.
But they later went to his house 2 days later, shot at him, shot at his wife. On that day, killed 3 of his children and burnt down his house in his own presence. And the bullets have not been removed. And the doctors, both domestic and international, are saying the poisoning, the lead metal poisoning in their system is 200% higher than normal. These people are being killed slowly. And the supporters are aware of this fact. And they are agitated. And the court has said, release them. And you refuse to release them under democracy. No. It's
so
unacceptable.
Where do we place the issue of
It's
rights?
unacceptable.
Is there limitation to right here?
Yeah,
because what we're seeing so far, it appears that the government has looked beyond judicial interpretation of rights here, your fundamental human right. You are both lawyers. Is there limitations to someone exercising his or
if your right will affect the security of the nation, you can't claim it. You can't.
Does that explain the case of Elza Kizaki?
No. There are more. You look at there are more facts my colleague is giving now that shows that it wasn't there. They didn't show him to be there. The generals that were there were his boys. It was his boys that were there. Some of them were killed before the army general could go.
According to Falana,
there is
about 1,000 of them were killed.
There is no
but
need going to
the commission established 347 killed on the same day.
There was no need going to his house to shoot him. If you want to arrest him, do you need to go and kill him in his house? No need. He has the right to privacy, to anything.
So we are saying that the government also played into the gallery.
Yes, to cause the problem. But what I'm saying is that when this type of situation arises, national security is paramount. How it was established.
So you don't agree that there is an issue of national security here?
No, this is a self-inflicted injury. Self-inflicted. If Esasaki and his wife are not being kept in disobedience to court orders since 2015, these protests would not have taken place. The protests have continued out of the conviction of his supporters that their own life is worthless if they cannot stand, to defend his freedom. He has not been He has not been found guilty of anything.
He hasn't been tried.
His 3 of his children killed in one day in his own presence. His house burned down in his own presence. Shot at, the wife shot at, and being kept since 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 5 good years under a democracy. We are living under a tyrannical regime, and I call on all Nigerians to peacefully reject what is going on.
Do you
this
agree
is unacceptable. This is unacceptable.
An anarchist system of government.
No, I don't agree. You see, you are
5 years.
Yes.
Against the court.
Yes.
That's a destruction of our own profession. If the court's orders are not obeyed, what is the essence of people coming to you?
You listen to what they said the court order is. The court order is not let him go. Give him bail. Provide accommodation for him.
That is right. That is wrong. That is wrong.
If that is the order,
that is not the order.
Oh, I see.
That is not the order. I have, the court process is here in my system. That is not the order. In fact, according to Femi Falana, Kolawole, now JCA,
yes,
actually challenge government. Are they kids that you want to be giving them protective custody? They're not kids. Esasaki is a graduate. It's not part of the drag of the society.
Let's look at the Islamic movement itself. Of what purpose do we have the Islamic movement? Is it to make our polity a better place? What is really their quest? Because if you look at where this started from, they blocked the vehicle of Buritai at a point in time. That was in 2015. And of course, it was an exchange of gun battle and the rest of his sporadic shots. And somehow, Elzaki Zaki and his wife, like he has claimed in court, his house was burnt down and the processes, they were arrested, taken to court. And now this is where we are today. But if you look at the Islamic movement itself, what do they want to achieve in the country? Looking at what they have been doing, why would they, for instance, block Buritai at that point in time? What is really their quest here?
Well, I defend their rights, their fundamental rights. Does not necessarily mean that I buy their program. It does not. But we also have to be very careful. You mentioned exchange of gunfire. Exchange of gunfire between people.
That's what
who were using sticks.
That was what was reported.
Yeah, we have to be careful, because life and freedom are involved of individuals as against the state. We should not just regurgitate what the state wants us to regurgitate. We have to be very careful. They were repressed. They are the victims. And the Kaduna State Commission of Inquiry established or made a finding that even if they blocked Buritai, the penalty was not killing 347 persons, in one day on one spot.
You know why I asked that question? During the Niger Delta struggle itself, when we had the fair share of oil revenue as an agitation, in the Niger Delta,
you know what they are complaining about.
We saw Asari Dokubo being put under solitary confinement for 7 years, and it was being taken to court. We never see a protest of this nature. What really went wrong? Is there something wrong somewhere? Is it beyond? That's why I asked, is there political undertone? Is there a political policy to actually ensure that these individuals do not get back into the society they needed to be reintegrated, as the case is? Whatever the government is planning, and of course there is a judicial pronouncement that they should be released. If you put all of this together, they are not. El-Zaki Zaki is actually not the first person. We also have Uwazuruke, the master person too, was detained several times too, and we never saw protests like this. What really is wrong?
No, I think the
even in the case of Uwazuruke, I think the factor is master people did not do this kind of a thing. They were protesting in their village there. They did not come to National Assembly. They did not kill policemen. They didn't attack anybody. And they have the right to agitate for a country of their own. They have that right. So
I think that the Islamic movement, is teaching Nigerians how to fight for their rights, how to show commitment, dedication to a cause, to principles. If an individual exists and lacks principles to live or die for, the life of such an individual is useless. They are fighting for the release of El Saki in accordance with court orders. That is the cause of all this.
What is the aim of the Islamic movement itself? I'm a Muslim. What is their aim? What do they do? Are they propagating Islam?
That is not my own concern.
Will tell you,
my concern is to identify the cause of the recent protests, which is release El Saki. They have no other demand. All their placards.
Okay, we just have to go. What's your parting word on this very development itself? What should we be looking at this point in time?
I call on all Nigerians to peacefully rise up in peaceful protests for the release of El Saki, and to reject being governed by the whims and caprices of an individual in disobedience to God.
What's your party?
I do not agree with Femi.
Okay.
It is not a thing anybody should protest against. If they are not satisfied, they have process they can use for court to enforce court order. Asking people to come and protest. What is the basis? The thing is that we don't even know what the Islamic movement
of the Constitution guarantees that.
What is the aim of the Islamic movement itself? Why are they a loggerhead government? They are not a political party. And I'm a Muslim. I have not heard that there is any particular thing they are teaching in Islam. What is their problem?
Okay.
Islam is a personal thing. Religion is a personal thing.
I must say thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here. It's been a wonderful one. We hope that some of the issues that were brought out in the course of this discussion will be critically looked at in order to douse the tension we already have in the country. I've been speaking to Femi Aborishade. He is a public affairs analyst and also a human rights activist and also a lawyer. Yeah. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
And of course, Bioyi Ashanike is a legal expert. Thank you too for coming down. And we just have to keep it a peg here on Political Talk this evening. Thank you for being there. My name is Bolabo Famous School. Do have a pleasant evening.